Hello everyone! Welcome to a different kind of video. We'll be watching another video by Lily Orchard, who used to be Lily Pete. Changed her name, apparently. I kind of found that out recently. Oh, I found out why. It's whatever reason. We don't need to get into it. It's nothing special. But anyways, let's get started because this video is something. The video is called Glass of Water Drama Queen. I don't know why this video is called Drama Queen. Maybe I'm an idiot. Maybe I'll find out in this viewing. But let's continue. Let's start, I should say.
Give me money, give me money,
Give her
give me
money,
money,
dude.
give me money, give me money.
Hope you like the music.
So I have a question for you guys. When I was covering Little Witch Academia on In a Minute, did you ever notice that when the show was being funny, it was great, but the parts where the show gets really dull and uninteresting are where it tries to be action? I hope you did, because this entire video was written with the assumption that the viewer saw this happening.
Of course. So, if you watch Little Witch Academia, you know it's from Studio Trigger. You know about them. They're a very, small indie anime production studio. They don't really have a big budget. They do really quick animations, whatever. And Little Witch Academia, I think, started out as a crowd-funded show to begin with. Oh man, when it starts to be action, man, does the animation go bad? Well, it's fucking Trigger. I mean, I don't think I've seen anyone go into a Trigger anime and be like, oh man, this doesn't look like Dragon Ball. Why doesn't this look like fucking Legend of Korra or Avatar? Why can't they put an animation like Studio Mir does? I mean, come on.
So as I said early on, I was already aware of the fact that Little Witch Academia goes completely off the rails in the second half and accepted that when I went in, but on reflection that was still foolishly optimistic of me. I mistakenly assumed that it would do the usual 2010 Cerebus syndrome of pretending it had something to say about something vaguely related to social issues, trying to sound progressive, and in Steven Universe's case, accidentally doing a U-turn halfway through. That's not to say that Little Witch Macadamia Nut was good, quite frankly.
I bet I bet you're gonna love. Don't you love the constant puns, right? Little Witch Academia Nut, Little Witch this, Little Witch that. Oh man, it is so funny. I hope he does it. I hope she does it like 20, 30 million times. I don't think we get enough of it, TBH.
Frankly, it was mediocre right from the start. What grabbed my attention was that in the first few episodes, it seemed to be completely devoid of all the usual stock anime tropes that began, and subsequently stopped being interesting in, Sailor Moon. There was no grand evil plan, there was no underage girls in fetish outfits, there was no prophecy. Each episode was the usual stock anime tropes that began, and subsequently stopped being interesting in, Sailor Moon. There was no grand evil plan, there was no underage girls in fetish outfits, there was no
Fetish outfits. It's fucking Sailor Moon. I mean, okay.
prophecy. Each episode was a self-contained story about being at Hogwarts, about some idiot kid who wants to meet her favorite celebrity. Unfortunately, the only one
Hogwarts. Oh man, this is just like Harry Potter. Oh man, Harry Potter, dude.
one of these tropes that stayed away was the underage girls in fetish outfits, which is still an improvement because perv pandering is the #1 reason that people with self-respect and dignity don't like Japanese cartoons to begin with.
Japanese cartoons. You mean anime? Being one of those people. But I mean, yeah, I mean, I kind of stopped watching anime for a while because I got tired of fan service. But I mean, I wouldn't. It's fucking anime. It's fucking anime.
All the other shit though? Oh boy, does that start piling in. Magical energy crisis, world trees, 7 words you can't say on radio or TV, blah-de, 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 blah. It's all the same other shit though? Oh boy, does that start piling in. Magical energy crisis, world trees, 7 words you can't say on radio or TV, blah-de, blah.
7 words.
Blah-de, blah-de, blah. It's all the same usual boring crap, augmented by the fact that the cast changes from 1 boring fuckhead and her 2 funny friends to 1 boring fuckhead and 3 other boring.
How is Akko boring? How is Chariot boring? How is Croy boring? How is Diana boring? How are these characters boring? What? Huh?
Blah, 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 blah. It's all the same usual boring crap, augmented by the fact that the cast changes from one.
And she kind of alludes to Lotte being funny. Lotte is like the straight man of the group. She's very, like, kind of grounded, bland. I mean, how is Lotte funny? Oh, okay. She's funny, dude. Akko is the boring one. Yeah, the one that explores a lot and fails a lot and tries. Boring. Get her out of here. Okay.
Boring fuckhead and her two funny friends to one boring fuckhead and three other boring fuckheads. That's actually the part that annoys me the most. The most entertaining characters in the show are actually Lotte and Susie, and they get completely shafted in favor of.
They're side characters, though. They're side characters. Of course they're not gonna have the main focus from the major characters. I mean, you have fucking Croy, who is kind of the antagonist. And you have Starlight, which you're like, is it Starlight or is it... I keep forgetting her name. Chariot. Chariot. That's it. Chariot. You have Chariot. And she's like, you know, a big deal because she went away and you don't know where she went and you kind of have an interest there. She has history with Croy. Kind of develops what goes on in the second half of the story. That's boring. Yeah. I remember when I watched the episode Blue Moon, spoilers by the way, I thought that was a really boring, like, episode. Oh man, there was someone in Chariot's life that was, like, close to her. Man, that was boring. That put me to sleep, dude. Wow.
Of the two teachers who can't get a sentence out without delays and Sunset Shimmer's a lowland form. Honestly, who decided that less Susie was a good idea, and please tell me they got fired over it? But
Susie is a good character. I agree. I like Susie, but I mean, okay, she makes potions. Let's see. Diana is from the Cavendish family, rich family. You know, has a long line of noble witches or whatever. She's used as a rival for Akko, and kind of like, and they both have similar like a common thing. They both like Chariot. I mean, Diana secretly likes Chariot. Spoilers again, I guess. They both have something that's common. And then they become closer friends by the end of the show. Croy has, you know, is trying to revolutionize magic, trying to make it more, you know, technological, trying to bring in a new thing with magic, because, you know, there's this whole issue with magic kind of dying out because of a lot of shit going on. She had a rivalry similar to Akko and Diana with Chariot, which also had a friendship that kind of split off. I mean, it serves a point because it's a parallel with Diana and Akko on the worst side of it. Like, you know, that, you know, instead of working together like Diana and Akko, like, you know, whatever, Chariot and Croy kind of split. So you have that. Lotte, she's a witch with glasses that wants to inherit her family's business. You have Susie, who does poison, who loves mushrooms and shit. Now you might be saying, "Oh, but Theo, they could have written her a bigger part. They could have written anyone with a bigger part." But that's not the point of the story. Like, of course, it's kind of dumb because it's such a wishy-washy argument. You could say that about any character in the fucking show. I like the bull dude from the Strike episode. Where is he? Why isn't he getting his own episode? He should have a bigger part. Okay.
What makes this different from the other shows is the responses I got. You see, when a show completely shits the bed and starts abandoning the concept of fun, the explanation I usually get is that this is really good because it's being more mature and proving that cartoons aren't only for kids.
Oh yeah, because Steven Universe is still well loved, right? Aside from the diehard fans of Steven Universe, I think that show kind of died out amongst the audience that was there for season 1. I think by season 2 and after, people started to kind of jump ship because Cartoon Network kind of aired it badly. It was just, it'd take forever to get to new episodes. The filler was ridiculous. It just kind of pissed people off. I was kind of pissed off with the show. I lost interest with it. I was like, okay, this is just to get a new story element took too long. I was like, I have better things to do in my life than watch Steven Universe. So the show kind of killed itself for me. And then I really started to think about the show a little bit more critically with the animation, and it kind of got worse in hindsight. The show kind of progressed to being pretty bad. I went from me being like, okay, it's whatever, to, the show kind of sucks. But to compare that with Little Witch Academia is pretty insulting. I'm insulted, TBH.
Because they superficially pay nod to themes that these same people will be screaming blue bloody murder about if they dared approach it directly. That's always been the irony of, say, Star vs. the Forces of Evil. The show's latest seasons have been pushing a story about privilege and racial prejudice, but they went to another dimension to do that despite Star already living with an Hispanic family in the United States. Unfortunately, if they had stayed, the show's latest seasons have been pushing kids because they superficially pay nod to themes that these same people will be screaming blue bloody murder about if they dared approach it directly. That's always been the irony of, say, Star vs. the Forces of Evil. The show's latest seasons have been pushing a story about privilege and racial prejudice, but they went to another dimension to do that despite Star already living with an Hispanic family in the United States. Unfortunately, if they had stayed with a relevant and direct example to tell the exact same story, the people claiming it to be a really smart show about prejudice would be pitching a fucking shit fit and claiming they're forcing in a political agenda. But Little Witch Academia was—
Wouldn't they do that anyway? Pretty sure they do that anyway. The people who complain about political agendas complain about that anyway. I mean, just look at, like, a game that gets announced with... Like, look at Battlefield 5. I mean, the PR was pretty bad, but they kind of pushed the PR to the development. It kind of became a shit show, but whatever. Okay.
Was different because the excuses I got was that it was better that the series got more into its plot because high-stakes action and flashy battles is what Trigger does best. No it's not. Because the excuses I got was that it was better that the series got more into its plot because high-stakes action and flashy battles is what Trigger does best.
Well, kinda, because, the action scenes are so, like, quick and energetic. I mean, yeah, it's not like the most quality animation. It's not like an amazing animated feat for a show. It's not like, it's redefining animation, but it's good in the sense of what you get. It's like you go to the dollar menu of McDonald's. It's not a fucking gourmet burger, but it could be a good tasty burger. It's like buying a $1 burger and be like, this is not like a homemade burger. This is fucking garbage. It's $1. They couldn't put fucking tomatoes in it. They can't put fucking Big Mac ingredients in this. It's only $1. What a piece of shit. Fuck this burger. Like, that's kind of what you're doing when you kind of criticize Trigger. You're going to a budget studio and complaining that you're not getting a full budget animation. Okay.
No it's not. They're terrible at action scenes. Almost all the action scenes in their shows are slow, floaty special effects blowouts that barely qualify as action scenes.
It's floaty, sure, but it works in the context of the fucking show. It gets away with it because it integrates it with the show, and the animation is kind of fun to look at because it's moving. It's fluid with how little frames it has. You know, it's like playing a game that is told off the bat that is 30 frames, and they do a very good job with the 30 frames. Then it's like, well, this isn't fucking 100 frames. What a piece of shit. And it's like the game was sold to you for like $10. Let's say $20, 30. Let's say 30. $30 for 30 frames. This is not a 100 frame game. Fuck this. I mean, you can appreciate things. Like, sure, you could say, oh, it's not the best when they give you something that's like less, but you can appreciate it. You know? I appreciate Little Witch Academia for what it is. You know, I'm not, you know, I had low expectations when I watched it. I thought I was going to hate the show. I ended up liking it. I liked it more than Kill la Kill. I like Kill la Kill too, but Kill la Kill was like trying to be an action show, but it had so many episodes of action that kind of cut corners pretty badly. Like, episode 20 is the worst offender of this. The fight between Ryuko and Harume, whatever her name is, was so bad. I hated it. It's just this in a black background, and this Ryuko doing this, and another scissor blade doing this. So it's like just this, pretty much. And I was like, this is fucking garbage. This is so obvious. Little Witch Academia, yeah, you can kind of like dig into it and say, oh, see, they cut corners, but it kind of hides it pretty decently. And I can kind of forgive it a little bit more because I got a fun show out of it.
Mind you, this isn't unique to Trigger. No animated TV series does action scenes well because the budget for that level of animation and choreography just isn't there. I think the Star Wars cartoons demonstrate this the best. In both Clone Wars cartoons and Rebels, the lightsaber fights does action scenes.
Look at this. Does this look fucking boring? So to give you context of the scene, so Akko was climbing up a tree or whatever that had a poison, right? And the poison, once these flowers bloom, was gonna like kind of prevent her from using magic, pretty much. So Cherry goes there to kind of save her, like, oh, you know, this is bad, whatever. She gets unconscious, whatever, and she's flying her out of there, being like, oh, please don't take her magic away, whatever. Pretty fucking intense. Nah, it's boring, dude. This is because the
budget for that level of animation and choreography just isn't there.
Right?
I think the Star Wars cartoons demonstrate this the best. In both Clone Wars cartoons and Rebels, the lightsaber fights tend to be really sticky as characters seem to jump from clash to clash, so you get this strange feeling of starting and stopping. There's a bigger emphasis on wide movements and a sense that the characters are just flailing at each other. Basically, they're more focused on where the lightsaber blades end up rather than how they get there. By contrast, the films have a much smoother approach to fight scenes as
man, it's like in a movie they had actual actors and a film budget. Well, the animation probably didn't have motion capture.
With the exception of rare occasions, the blades themselves never stay locked for a very long time. The times they do means they have more impact and tend to be focused on a battle of raw strength, and at all other times the two locked in battle are very quickly moving from strike to strike, and that's what a sword fight between two people who can both predict the immediate future is supposed to look like. So you get a changing rhythm as the fight speeds up, slows down, enters downtime, speeds back up again, and so on. By the way, the trailers for the Old Republic have this down to an exact science because they're shorter and have a bigger budget. This is what a flashy battle looks like. It really comes down to budget, and that's what kneecaps Trigger more than anything else, because like most Japanese animation studios, they have a budget of basically nothing, and as a result, their action scenes quickly fall into a few large-scale magic spells or a few really wide strikes, and that's about it. That's not really anybody's fault.
Look at that fight scene, though. It was kind of great for what it is. It has just quick motions, then it does this crazy, like, wide breakdance kind of attack. Like, it's just so, like, it's a fun setup. Yeah, it might not be crafted well, but it's still a fun fight scene. Okay.
But it goes to show why action cartoons fell out of favor as the mainstream in recent years in favor of slice of life. It's easier to animate really wide strikes, and that's about it. That's not really anybody's fault, but it goes to show why action cartoons fell out of favor as the mainstream in recent years in favor of slice of life. It's easier to animate, and it'll age better. Drama and action generally don't mesh well with Japanese cartoons because the low-budget animation means that there's a big focus on jumping quickly from one key frame to the next.
Yeah, but the way that they get around it is by having good characters and get a good story. Little Witch Academia has a pretty good story for what it is. It's a simple premise, and it kind of conveys stuff pretty interesting. But okay.
Long hangs on a single shot, panning a shot over one frame, and lip syncing. What the fuck is that? But I'd argue that
Well, lip syncing, yeah, man. Let's judge lip sync in a Japanese anime from a studio that has always been known to have a low budget. That kind of makes it even a joke. I mean, I think they did an anime that literally just had like stock images of police officers just kind of slide across the screen and just do this to attack people, like, you know, that, whatever. I remember seeing that, I was like, oh, this is Studio Trigger, I could definitely see them do this, because it's a fucking, like, whatever.
there's one genre that Trigger is not only especially good at, but that most Japanese cartoons have always been good at. Pornography!
Get it, because Japanese anime has they give characters big boobs and they do sex stuff and tentacles and hentai man. Oh man. And then silence, man, because it really wants to stay in the air. Man.
Comedy. You see, the stilted and jump cut heavy animation style of most Japanese cartoons is silly by nature, and thus lends itself really well to absurdity and thus to comedy. This is a big reason why the most well-remembered shows of the early 2000s
yeah, I mean, that's why they use it mostly in comedy scenes.
Emulated it so much, despite the fact that they didn't have to because they had a real budget. Comedy is built almost entirely around good timing, and the fast cuts and missing frames serves that really well. And Little Witch Androgyny was no different. The best
did it again.
episode of the entire damn show was one that took full advantage of all of this for the biggest payoff. And this is the reason why Susie was the best character they had,
because there's an episode where she was
because her dry wit was only complemented by the way everything moves. Constance is another character who really shines in this regard, as because she's non-verbal, everything about her has to be communicated through animation alone. There's one scene in Stand Ship Takeoff where Akko looks at what she's drawing, trips, and you get a still shot of her mid-fall, and then a still shot of Constance's deadpan face like she's screaming internally. This is the best single shot in the entire show, and it's only 5 frames. The shot immediately afterward is a 15-second montage of Akko's terrible excuses for help that are once again all communicated in only single still images, or even then a few frames of animation. Very cheap to make, very easy to animate, very, very, very funny.
So, what Lily wants, or wanted, Little Witch Academia is just to do that for 20 episodes? 25? I don't remember how many episodes Little Witch Academia has, but that would be very fucking bland. Or I mean, not bland, but just overdone, because at least the action kind of serves as a buffer. And then you have the drama, because, you know, to have a good comedy, it's kind of nice to have drama mixed in to kind of balance the two out. You know, it's kind of nice to have that.
The dramatic moments are often ruined by this, such as when Shiny Charmeleon and Kroiki are arguing and the tension of the whole scene is made unbearably cheesy due to the fact that Japanese animation still hasn't resolved its messy breakup with lip sync.
Who fucking cares about fucking lip syncing in an anime? Especially from Trigger. Okay.
I generally talk about how animation is small potatoes over writing, but the writing plays into this as well. They deliberately write these action scenes with a tiny animation budget in mind, and that's where the problems start. It isn't just about the fighting, it also has to be a scene. One of the best fight scenes in history is the fight between Will Turner and Jack Sparrow in the first—
Why compare an anime to a live-action fight scene? I get that this is, like, trying to serve a point, but to hold it to that kind of level, I kind of think it's kind of asking too much for animation. That's not trying to be taken that way. It's like looking at a Picasso painting and then be like, you know what, Picasso, the art is not realistic. It's not realism, so get this out of here. Fuck it. It's like, that's not what Picasso is trying to do.
Pirates movie, because it serves as an establishment of their character through very little dialogue
God,
and a
YouTube,
lot
why
of
the fuck do
action.
you
From
do
fighting
that?
around the forge to being sent up to the rafters to the ultimate win card of the fact that for all of Will's practice, Jack is a cheater, so he wins. This isn't a very flashy action scene, but it's a meaty action scene. Is there any scene in Little Witch Atlantica that does that? Well, no, there isn't. There's a lot of Dragon Ball Z penis extension.
So that's that final fight with the magic missile. Magic missile! But anyways, with that scene, there's nothing entertaining about it. There was no entertaining thing with the fluidity of the scenes, how quick it goes through, like, just whatever. I mean, it might not have a lot of frames, but it's nice to look at, because it's a goofy, over-the-top show that's not trying to be fully serious. I mean, there's serious moments, but, I mean, it's a fucking Trigger show from Trigger. The people who made Kill la Kill.
Beams, particularly that freaking bow, but nothing really substantial. You know what Little Witch Macarena has in spades, though?
Macarena, dude.
Akko, get away! Scouring the world for my beloved poisonous mushrooms will be a breeze with my new powers. And I can do it all without ever having to talk to any other people. It isn't nice to kill people with such a barbaric weapon. That's right, you little imp. Why can't you be more like her? If you're going to kill someone, you should really use this. Please sign here. If you break the contract...
Wow, who would have thought Kill la Kill. Trigger makes funny stuff.
I can't guarantee harm won't come to you.
Okay.
Which one of you is supposed to be the devil again? I knew you were stupid, but I didn't go.
We're just gonna speed through this a little bit. This is little
It
dull.
must fall okay? You can't just go ahead and pull it off. I hear ya.
Wants to be, and it frustrates me.
What's this? It looks cool.
The global animation industry, Trigger continues chasing action and drama. Hell, the global animation industry being some of the funny when it wants to be. This show is extremely funny when it wants to be, and it frustrates me that despite being some of the funniest people in the global animation industry, Trigger continues chasing action and drama. Hell,
Because maybe they want to? Maybe they want to do that stuff with their small budget because they just want to do it. I mean, they're able to kind of get away with it. Kinda. It might not be an amazing fucking action scene, but I mean, who goes to Trigger thinking, man, I'm gonna get a fucking action sequence, it's gonna be crazy. Michael Bay came in to make an action scene. I mean, it's fucking Trigger. Okay.
Hell, the fact that the main character is profoundly fucking stupid and never changes from that would be a great character trait in comedy rather than where Akko currently is, which is a gigantic pain in the ass. I've noticed this trend across Japanese cartoons for over a decade now. Of the two Japanese cartoons I watched as a kid, Hamtaro aged beautifully and it's still a lot of fun to watch, while Cardcaptors aged like milk.
Wow, who would have thought a show that was designed to sell cards didn't age well? It's almost like they made card captors to sell the cards. But I actually I don't know if whatever, fuck it.
The only Japanese cartoon of the modern era I have even been remotely interested in is a slice of life cartoon about a precious babu being a precious babu and none of the industry's other bullshit. But it's not localized in English, which means I'm basically shit out of luck. Japanese.
So you can't watch subtitles? Man, that sucks. I thought I was a filthy dubber. Hold the phone.
As a kid, Hamtaro aged beautifully and it's still a lot of fun to watch, while Cardcaptors aged like milk. The only Japanese cartoon of the modern era I have even been remotely interested in is a slice of life
like slice of life cartoons. And again, one of those people that are like, oh, it's a cartoon, dude. It's because anime is like animation, dude. Sound good?
Cartoon about a precious babu
Someone
being a
get
precious
triggered over
babu
this.
and none of the industry's other bullshit. But it's not localized in English, which means I'm basically shit out of luck. Japanese animation has never done adventure stories well because they don't have the resources to actually display it. A show like Avatar.
I mean, yeah, sure. You know, if you're going like, yeah, I can understand people that might be bummed out that that we'll never get like a good action scenes from Studio Trigger or some other anime studios that I may not be aware of, but it's just that, like, Little Witch Academia has a goofy tone to begin with. It's a show that's lighthearted, and it's like, it has serious moments in it, it has action, it has all these things going on in it. But but at the end of the day, it's a kind of a goofy show. And it gets away with not having well animated action scenes because of how goofy the show is at heart. Because it has a lot of heart in it. Like, that's why a lot of people kind of give Studio Trigger some slack with their shows, because they usually put a lot of heart with their work. Like, Kill la Kill, it's kind of my least favorite of the Trigger things I've seen, but I enjoy the show regardless because it has a lot of, like, effort or at least heart put into it. You know, it's not like, you know, when you're watching Naruto, it's like, okay, man, we gotta ship characters at the end. Everyone gets a kid in Boruto. Sakura's with Sasuke, they get a kid. Naruto's with Hinata, they get a kid. This person's with that person, they get a kid. This people get a kid. These kids are just like their parents, but slightly different. Okay.
Would have never happened in Japan because the industry has very low budgets and too insular an audience. It had to be made with Nickelodeon's money behind it, and even then it still had to cut corners like it was crunch time at the Circle Factory.
They had to cut corners because Western animation is also expensive, and Western studios don't want to spend a lot of money either.
Action is so resource intensive that a region whose animation industry is surviving on starvation diets is just not going to be able to do it unless they get funding elsewhere.
But they could just do whatever.
Comedy is not only something that Japanese cartoons have always been very
she's kind of going acting as if you do action, it has to be taken seriously. But what if the action scenes are also comedy scenes? Like, what if the low budget stuff in their action scenes were done out of comedy? Like, I mean, I've said Kill la Kill before. Some of the Kill la Kill scenes are kind of funny because of how bad the budget is, but I mean, episode 20 was the only one that was like, they didn't even try to do anything with it. The scene was just flat and just didn't really do anything. Little Witch Academia, at least they tried to do stuff with their low budget and these big action scenes that kind of melded or whatever. It kind of meshed with whatever comedy shit they were trying to do. So it kind of works. But okay.
Good at, it suits their shoestring budget animation styles perfectly. A long-standing question people ask me is why I hate Japanese cartoons, and this is why. The things they're actually good at are the things they do very rarely, and if you don't want to watch another carbon copy of Sailor Moon or Dragon Ball, then you're not going to have a good time. And because I'm
Sounds like that's a you problem, because you could kind of find Samurai Champloo. That's a good show. That's not a carbon copy of anything. It's a pretty good show that has good action scenes. There's Afro Samurai. That's pretty good. Excuse me, sorry about that. What else? I mean, Devil May Cry Baby, kinda. But, I mean, a lot of people might have issues with that show, too. Fooly Cooley's pretty good. One Punch Man. I heard a good thing about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I saw, like, the first season, series, whatever of that. I kind of want to get back into that, I guess, but, let's see. Oh, Evangelion's pretty good. That's not a Dragon Ball Z or Sailor Moon carbon copy. I mean, maybe it's a Gundam carbon copy, but even then, like, Gundam doesn't get that crazy. But okay.
Not a pathetic sack of human shit, the aggressive perv pandering in this medium only ever turned me off of it.
As someone who kind of didn't like the sexualization, I think High School of the Dead kind of was the final nail for me, but even then I kind of got over it because I found shows that were not that intrusive with it. Like, I watched Gurren Lagann, and Gurren Lagann had sexualization in it, like with fucking Yoko, but I was able to get to look away from it because I liked the show regardless. I liked the characters. I liked the story. I liked the mech designs. I mean, I was able to look past that because of what was going on. Kill la Kill, yeah, it has sexualization, but I was able to get past it because it's a funny show that's not meant to be taken seriously. But okay, I guess I'm supposed to be up in arms about that.
It as I got older. I hear a lot of anime YouTubers talk about saving their favorite medium. Even diehard fans admit that they're holding on by a thread and are trying to find some way to revive it. A great place to start would be junking the perpetual money sinks that only appeal to a very tiny minority of hardcore fans. Maybe stop trying to convince pathetic sad sacks to hyper-consume expensive DVD packs with creepily.
But all of the DVD packs for anime are usually expensive regardless. Aniplex, whatever, are notorious for that. They overprice their fucking shows like nobody's business. And no one supports them, and look what happens. Trigger, who put Kill la Kill through Aniplex, that show, they barely made any money for it because no one bought their DVDs. Or if they did, they bought some of them, or a handful of them did. Not a lot. You know, it's not that easy to sell a fucking Blu-ray from Japan outside of Japan. Sometimes people have to spend the big bucks to get the shows they want. As bad as it is. Funimation is pretty good with their prices so far, as I've seen, but I mean, things can change because, you know, we're getting tariffs, dude. Apparently.
Misogynistic fetish fuel. Just buckle down, make it to a very tiny minority of hardcore fans. Maybe stop trying to convince pathetic sad sacks to hyper-consume expensive DVD packs with creepily misogynistic fetish fuel.
DVDs are misogynistic now? Okay. I mean, I guess he's talking about the shows, like, what? I mean, yeah, it's kind of dumb to, like, just buy anime for the sake of buying anime. I would not say to do that, but if you like a show, I would say buy the show you like to support the studio you like. I like Trigger. I'd probably buy Little Witch Academia if I found it in the store, but since Netflix is the only thing that's obtainable for me, I'll just watch it that way. Because technically that is supporting them. Yeah, it's not giving them a lot of money, but it's giving them more than $0.
Just buckle down, make a really good comedy series, release it in North America, and
I love this too. Just make a good show, and you'll be rich. Just make it good. Make a good show, you'll be rich. Arrested Development was pretty good. That show got canceled. Whoops. Let's see. What else was good that didn't really get a lot of money? Blade Runner. That's a good movie. Didn't get a lot of money. Whoops. I mean, come on. Like, Annihilation was a good movie. Didn't make a lot of money. Yeah, just make a good show. You'll make a lot of money. That's not going to be the case. Why do you think Marvel movies are so big? Why do you think Hollywood pumps out a lot of Marvel movies? Because they're good movies? I mean, they could be good movies, but it's also what brings in the big money, the big bucks. Why do you think we don't see a lot of originality? Because it doesn't make a lot of money. Why do you think indie games aren't really prominent in the video game industry? You don't make a lot of money. Yeah, just make a good game. You'll get a lot of money, dude. That's all you need to make a good movie. Okay.
In the money you'd make from a funny cartoon and the fresh blood into your audience. That's basically what Crunchyroll is trying to
Yeah, Crunchyroll. Yeah, because, you know, High Garden Spice really panned out for them. Or it's going to pan out for them. Totally. Yeah, the show might be good. Sure. But the premise is pretty bland. When you have other shows that kind of been there, did that. And you're pretty much saying that High Garden Spice is gonna be good without... Like, the people who are saying that this show could be, like, is gonna be good and this and that are just as bad as people who shit on movies that aren't even out yet. I mean, again, that's not to say you can't be excited before the product releases or be disappointed with the product before it releases. You could do that. You can. It's very possible. But you also should be open to the idea that it could also surprise you. Because some of the stuff I like, I thought I was gonna hate. And I ended up liking it. Wow. Wow, dude. Isn't that crazy? What a surprise. And then some stuff I was looking forward to, I ended up being disappointed in. Whoa. So, using High Garden Spice as the example, and saying, oh, see, this is what Crunchyroll's doing to... And Crunchyroll, it didn't even do High Garden Spice to get people to get subscriptions. They literally was saying that they're doing High Garden Spice to start to have Western anime on their site. That's why they did it. They didn't do it because they want comedy. They were like, oh, you know what, we should start, creating an anime genre for the Western studios. Even though Ruby was kind of the first one, but okay. Fuck Ruby, I guess.
To do, suck in a new batch of viewers to generate more subscription money from people who previously avoided their service because it only supplied terrible perv-pandering garbage that nobody actually wanted to watch. That was ultimately the problem with Ruby. More North American subscription money.
But look at these characters. Yeah, let's sexualize these characters. That's not gonna look creepy.
From people who previously avoided shades that it never stopped to think about if those tropes
fucking Ruby
supplied terrible perv-pandering garbage that nobody actually wanted to watch. That was ultimately the problem with Ruby. It was so in love with its tropes and cliches that it never stopped to think about if those tropes and cliches were actually good, you know, aside from just generally looking like shit. And that's the response I usually get when I complain.
The show is shit anyway. The show kind of should have just stopped at season 3 because the main creator passed away. They should have just ended the series out of respect to him, but okay. Let's continue Ruby to make money, dude. Okay.
About this stuff, especially in response to the Korra video. People tell me, oh, that's a common thing in anime. I know this is hard to grasp.
Korra, oh man. I like Legend of Korra, by the way, so of course my opinion might be skewed, dude, because obviously if you like Korra, you're biased, right? It's just a fun show.
Grasp, but telling me that I'm right not just about a few shows, but about an entire medium is not the smart rebuttal you think it is.
Yeah, because liking things for what you get out of the thing you like is just proving her right and you're wrong all the time. If you go and see Trigger shows thinking, no, it's gonna have low budget animation, low budget action scenes, but it's gonna have like funny characters, goofy shit, I'm gonna love it. You're proving her right. Trigger sucks. Get them out of here. Get them annihilate them. Annihilate studios that try to do goofy shit. They need to have movie products and just make good shows. Then they get money, right? That's how it works. Fucking okay. Alright, everyone. That's it for this video. Thank you for watching. See ya next time.